Other shows we have for you to enjoy at myclassicradio.net. The Avengers was most certainly not a household name in South Africa prior to the radio series. With no national television service until 1976, the mechanism simply was not present in the country to show television programs to mass audiences. While many other countries reveled in the filmed adventures of John Steed and company, South Africa was not equipped to join in the fun. The series took Britain by storm and made a major impression in the American markets, being that greatest of rarities, a British series given a network transmission slot. However, as a filmed series, rather than a videotaped one, The Avengers was able to gain a modicum of exposure in South Africa through film rentals. Come and listen at myclassicradio.net.
From Hollywood, the CBS Radio Workshop.
Oh, he puffed and he panted, this old iron horse, black and smoking cinders a-marking his course. Down in the valley and up on the grade, driving on steam, helping history be made.
CBS Radio presents the CBS Radio Workshop, dedicated to man's imagination, the theater of the mind. From Hollywood, the Workshop brings you William N. Robeson's production of an original folk tale, The Ballad of the Iron Horse.
He was a locomotive, a 440, 8 wheels and a diamond stack and a whistle to blow. When he was young, there was no mightier thing. West of the Mississippi, he was the rail king. He wasn't streamlined, didn't have much looks, but he wrote his page in the history books.
His mother was iron, his father was steel, forged in the smelter from his stack to his wheel. Rocked the rails in 1862. Time of the strife, our grandpappies knew. The North General Grant, the South General Lee, depended on the engines to win each victory. Armies and equipment, the war's heavy loads, were all being carried on the new railroads. He puffed and he panted, this old iron horse, black and smoking cinders a-marking his course. Down in the valley and up on the grade, driving on steam, helping history be made.
Along for the wood pile, Mr. Yancey?
That's right, boy. Should be up ahead.
Well, it better be. This here engine eats up wood like it's striped candy.
Well, chunk in what's left. We can't let the steam drop while we're taking on a new load.
Yeah, I know.
You know a lot for somebody young as you. How long you been aching to be a fireman?
Never did ache to be.
Oh?
No, sir. I aim to be an engineer.
Engineer? Hey.
Oh, you think that's funny? You're saying he's on his first run anywhere, and already he wants to be the boss.
Boy, I'm not laughing at you.
Oh, not much. But when the fighting's over, they're going to be making lots of new engines. Somebody's going to have to run them.
When the fighting's over?
Well, that can't be too far off. Sherman's outside Atlanta, and with all the troops this road's been carrying down from Nashville to Helton, the Rebs can't hold out much longer. You think they can, Mr. Yancey? Mr. Yancey?
Take a look up ahead there, boy. Tell me what you see.
Oh, it looks like... Yeah, it's a fire. A big fire right near the track.
I'm thinking that's our wood.
Our firewood?
We got any other kind?
But who'd do such a thing?
Now, who do you suppose? The Rebs.
But for what?
Boy, you... To keep us from reaching Atlanta. To keep the troops we're hauling from going into battle.
Great day. Well, that sure leaves us in a pretty fix, don't it?
Might.
Well, what do we do?
Sit.
Sit?
And wait. That's all we can do. Unless the colonel orders his men out to cut us some wood.
When Yancey told the colonel did scream. Raved about an engine that burnt wood to make steam.
Coal, Mr. Yancey. You've heard me say, convert to coal without a delay.
And I've said yes. I've certainly agreed.
Coal will burn slower, give you more speed.
But what'll we do now? We're fresh out of wood.
Get the boys out. Exercise will do 'em good.
Troops began to holler, the troops did right, having to chop wood far into the night. And who was it felt sorrow, and who felt shame? Our little old engine a-working to make his name.
Yes, sir, emotion is sometimes to be found in steel. Railroaders will tell you that engines can feel. And our little engine, his feelings and pride, both were hurt by this turn of the tide. And he was sent back north to haul coal from a mine, and never once got near the Atlanta battle line.
Oh, he chugged and he puffed, this old iron horse, black and smoking cinders a-marking his course. Down in the valley and up on the grade, driving on steam, helping history be made. From the Shenandoah Valley to Chesapeake Bay, from Trenton, New Jersey to Reading, PA, across the Appalachians, still pulling his load, doing his best on the early railroad.
The end of the war saw folks moving west, and our little engine rolled on with the rest. Across the Missouri, then out on the plains, through pasture and fields planted with grains. Farmers lost land to his right-of-way, and engines swore vengeance to their dying day.
He puffed and he snorted in this iron horse, black and smoking cinders a-marking his course. Down in the valley and up on the grade, but driving on steam, helping history be made. Started in to work on the old UP, started laying track to the western sea. Across the mountains from California, the Central Pacific was on its way.
The workers that helped him were a motley crew, wielding sledges and hammers and steam drivers too. Gandy dancers they call these Irish and Chinese, who sweated in the desert and ignored winter's freeze. They gathered at the railhead with a week's work done. Places like Omaha, where they'd have their fun. They drank two-fisted gin and red-eye and fought with each other for a woman named Vi. They paid through the nose to dance with this dolly. And as always, the Irish grew most melancholy.
Oh, he sings a right nice song, don't he, Yancey?
Yep, it does it that.
Kind of a sad song, though.
All right, boys, who's gonna whirl me around next?
You want to dance with it, Charlie?
Oh, no, I don't know.
I thought that's what we came in here for. You've been talking all week about how you wanted to come to Fat Hogger and dance with that woman.
Well,
You, Curly, you aiming to dance?
She's looking right at you.
well, doggone.
Can't you answer?
Boy, she must like your looks.
Dancing's what you came in here for, ain't it? Talipot?
Well, now, well, how'd you know I was a fireman?
Saw you tossing wood in the firebox day I came in from St. Joe.
About 3 months ago?
That's right. You still on that run?
No, ma'am. No, we're hauling track to the end of steel now.
Well, then, you're in the real money. How much you gonna pay for that dance? Henry Grady over there gave me $5.
Ma'am, I'll give you 8.
Silver?
Sure.
Professor, put some pepper in your play, and I got a gentleman. Come on, honey.
All right, just a minute, little lady. What do you think you're doing?
I'm dancing with this gentleman, Mr. Grady.
Not when I already said I'd pay you more than anybody else here.
Curly just gave me $8. Now get out of my way. Come on, Talipot. Don't you pay him no mind.
Talipot, eh?
I'm a fireman, mister. That's what the railroaders call us.
Well, I'm a steel-driving man myself. Now, you let loose of her before I bust your face open.
Henry Grady, you get away now.
Pardon me, ma'am?
Stay with me,
A fight was pretty common in the old rail towns. 'Twas an every-hour thing to see a man go down. Drink and the devil done their best, but the rails kept it going, snaking on west. Oh, he puffed and he panted, his old iron horse, black and smoke and cinders, a-marking his course. Down in the valley and up on the grade, and driving on steam, helping history be made.
And fighting wasn't only done in saloons. There was a Sioux Indian chief by the name of Two Moons. It was him swore vengeance to his dying day to stop the rails and their right-of-way.
How you feel, Charlie?
All right, I reckon.
How's your eye?
How's it look?
Can you see out of it?
Good as I can the other one.
Come over here. Yeah. Take a look out across them bluffs. No, over to the left more. There, that's it. You see that?
Yeah.
What do you think it is?
Something moving for sure. Buffalo, maybe.
Maybe not.
How far to end the track?
Too far, about 18 miles. And now look at him.
Yeah. Buffalo be running from us. They're running toward us.
Build up the steam, Charlie.
Steam ain't gonna do no good. We can't run any faster on this road. Bet it ain't settled yet.
We don't run faster, we'll never run no more. Now, come on, move!
They let out the throttle with the engine moving fast. Looked out the cab and saw engines riding past. Built up the pressure to 150 pounds. The safety valves blew, but they didn't let down. They grabbed up their rifles and they took careful aim. Our engine was straining, never to be the same. His boilerplate weakened already by rust. Didn't seem like they'd lose that Indian dust.
Got me one!
Throw in more wood, Charlie!
You want to bust the boilers, Mr. Yancey?
Aim to outrun these engine ponies.
You look at the pressure gauge. You see what it says?
Can't help it. We don't get more speed, they'll be trying to board us.
But if the boiler
Stop
goes...
bargaining with me. You do like I said. And keep down while you're doing it.
Our little engine shuddered, his drivers did strain, but finally outran the fastest horse of the plain. His boilerplate warped, his oilers full sprung. He proved himself a hero, but a hero unsung. He puffed and he panted, this little iron horse, driving on steam to change history's course. To the end of steel, this was his last run. To the roundhouse he went, now repairs were begun.
Boilerplate, oilers, valves, steam pipes, pistons, drive crank, firebox, these all need work, Mr. Yancey.
All of that.
And more. It's a wonder you got here under your own steam. Now, you just go up to the General Dodge Hotel and relax. When it's all done, I send you word.
I guess that's all I can do.
Of course it is.
Mr. Yancey! Mr. Yancey, you heard the news?
The bad news I did.
But this is good.
What news?
They're about to meet.
What? Who is?
The two roads, the tracks are about to meet. Word just came in over the telegraph.
Where they at? Where they going to hold the ceremony?
They say it'll be at Promontory Point, west of Ogden.
Mr. Hamill, I'd like to be there.
Well, so would all of us.
You think you'll be long getting my engine fixed?
Nancy, I told you. It's going to take time, but I do my best. I figure maybe this little engine, he's likely done his share. Maybe he'd like to be there, too.
He sure would, Mr. Hamill. You can call me crazy, but I've been riding his cab a long time. I know he would.
On the 10th of May, 1869, the meeting of the Central and UP line was marked by speeches and whiskey and glory, and the gold spike driven at Promontory. And left sitting in the roundhouse, far from this place, his boiler still out, not sound from the race, was the little engine who wanted to be honored and praised for his march toward the sea. But like many others, no mention was made of our little engine and the part he had played. So with this day over and another begun, his boiler returned. He chugged west toward the sun.
Oh, he coughed and he panted, this old iron horse, black and smoking cinders of marking his course. Down in the valley and up on the grade, driving on steam, help and history be made.
From Council Bluff, Iowa to Old Cheyenne, he made the trip over and over again. He hauled logs a while on the western line, then down into Utah, and on mountain time he brought ranchers' goods and gave some a ride. Some of them paid with a buffalo hide. Climbed down from their steed, they called a cayuse, and they tilted their hats and climbed on the caboose.
Oh, he puffed and he panted, this old iron horse, black and smoking cinders a-marking his course. Down in the valley and up on the grade, a-driving on steam, help and history be made.
He pulled cars and lumber and sometimes coal, and then got orders, the Pacific was his goal. Puffed on toward the Sierras through the lofty pines, heading for California's rich gold mines. Up Donner Pass he struggled, fought toward the top, but he couldn't quite make it. At last had to stop. The work he'd done, the years he'd lived, had taken its toll. He had no more to give. He fought with a last gasp. He struggled and cried, but he couldn't make the grade, no matter how he tried.
Well, what'll we do now, Mr. Yancey?
There's a siding halfway down the grade. I'll try backing onto it.
Oh, boy. This engine's finished, ain't it?
I don't know. I don't want to think about it.
They left him on the siding, said he was through. Got another engine, one with power that was new. They hauled his cars away and left him alone. Looked like that siding was to be his last home.
He could hear other engines go charging on by, making the grade without having to try. But they weren't the same breed, not even a relation. All diesel and steel and aluminization. Trains that had glamour, like the Challenger and Super Chief, flashing by the siding, adding to his grief. It gets cold up on Donner. Snow gets so deep. In the fall, he was packed in for a long winter's sleep. He stood there, right in sight of the main line. But no one noticed him for the longest time. His parts had most rusted. His pistons froze fast. He was an old has-been, a relic from the past.
With all that snow on him.
No. It's all right, Henry. I'll be able to tell. Well, by golly. By George Henry, I didn't think it was possible.
And it is what you've been looking for, Mr. Tyson?
Exactly, just exactly. An old 8-wheel American standard. But what's he doing here?
I don't know, sir. I asked around, but if anybody ever did know, they've forgotten.
Well, he'll need a complete overhaul.
Yes, sir.
Of course, the first thing is to get him down to the city.
I'll take care of it, sir.
Fine, Henry. You do that.
A few days later, a diesel-drawn train stopped at the siding with the help of a crane, lifted our engine onto a flat car, crossed over Donner toward the evening star.
To the roundhouse in the city, our friend was taken, and all the while knowing that he wasn't forsaken. And when the work was completed, he stood there gleaming. He couldn't be sure that he hadn't been dreaming. And then off to a park with its grass so green, he was once more traveling under his very own steam.
Hey, kiddies, hey, boys and girls. Board the one, the only authentic diamond stack locomotive on the Pacific Coast for a scenic trip around the park. Travel like your grandpas did. Ride the train that carried the troops to the Civil War and fought off the Indians and won the West. Right this way, kiddies. Board!
Don't believe us, we'll go to the park, but get there early, not after dark. It costs a quarter for only a ride, but it's worth it to see that engine puffing with pride. Oh, he puffed and he panted, this old iron horse, black and smoke and cinders, a marking his course. Down in the valley and up on the grade, driving on steam, helping history be made.
The CBS Radio Workshop has presented The Ballad of the Iron Horse by Charles B. Smith, based upon an original story by Ken McManus, with music composed by Fred Steiner and conducted by Lynn Murray. The Ballad of the Iron Horse was sung by the Mellow Men, narrated by William Conrad, and produced and directed in Hollywood by William N. Robeson. Included in the cast were Joan Banks, Dick Crenna, Joe DeSantis, John Daner, Jack Moyles, and Dawes Butler. Sound patterns by Bill James and Tom Hanley. The sounds of the Iron Horse were recorded on the Oahu Railway in Travel Town, Griffith Park, Los Angeles, through the cooperation of William Fredrickson, Director of Recreation and Parks of the City of Los Angeles. Next week, from Hollywood, the CBS Radio Workshop will bring you The Prevarications of Mr. Pepys, a somewhat lesser-known approach to the famed London diarist.
Do-do-do-do-do-do.